Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Brandon Turner with BiggerPockets.com, and we're getting about ready to get started, if I can speak today, with this webinar on how to analyze a fix and flip deal. That's something that a lot of people struggle with, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've struggled with that quite a bit in my career of trying to figure out how do you predict how well you're going to do on a flip. But over the years, I've learned a few things here and there, so that's what we're talking about today. But before we get any further, and before we start this thing, could you guys do me a favor and in the chat area, let me know if you can hear me okay? Because a lot of times when I'm doing these webinars, for whatever reason, I have tech problems. So let me know in the chat room right now if you can hear me okay. And we'll get started here in just about 1 minute or so. Hey, good, people can. Ben said, why is chat always muted when I come on here? I don't know, Ben, but it ain't muted. You're good to go. That's good. People can hear me. What's up, everyone? Jack said, boom. Love it. Jesse said, sounds great. Well, thank you, Jesse. They don't call me Brandon the Voice Turner for nothing. Okay, I just made that up right now. All right, Latoya can hear loud and clear. That's awesome. So where's everyone at? Where's everyone right now at this moment? What city, state, or country are you guys at? Andrew said, can't wait. Whoop, whoop. What's up, everyone? Abram said, yeah, except they don't call you that. They don't call me that. But that's why they call you Abram, the logical man. I don't know your last name. Johnson. I don't know. That's my thing. I like to make up last names for people. It's kind of fun. All right, guys. You guys ready to get started with this? Talking about how to analyze a fix and flip deal. Hopefully enough people are in here. What's up, everyone? What's up, Andrew Taylor? Bianca, what's up? Brian O'Neill. What's up, Russ from Nashville? Kristen from Lynchburg. All right, Dave from Denver. We got a Bozeman, Montana in the house. Rosemary, what's up, guys? Chad from Denver. I saw Seattle there. Boston from Seattle. No, that's confusing. Maybe it's Seattle from Boston. I don't know. I could be really confused. I actually had a friend whose kid is named Seattle, which I thought was kind of cool. And maybe she's from Boston. I don't know. Troy from El Paso. What's up, Colin, Jesse, Rebecca, Ben? I'm going to not be able to name everybody because there's going to be a lot of people here today. Good deal. Letitia can hear me from Atlanta. What's up? Mahir from Indianapolis. Hoosiers? How do I say that? Hoosiers? I don't even know. Lucas from New York City, from Queens. What's up? Andrew from Minnesota. What's up, MN? My home state. I grew up there. Angela from Austin. All right, enough shout outs. Let's get this thing going. Welcome you guys to the webinar on how to analyze a fix and flip deal. How to analyze a fix and flip. Like I said earlier, if you are just joining now, you didn't hear it, but I've screwed up a lot on this in my past. I really struggled with flipping for a number of years because I didn't understand how to analyze them correctly. And it wasn't until I really sat down and learned it because it's a skill you can learn. Before I was just flippantly doing it based on the best I could do. It wasn't until I sat down and really, really learned it and started asking other people how they do it and practicing a lot that I got pretty good at it. And so today, that's what we're talking about is how to analyze a fix and flip deal. And keep in mind, even if you guys don't want to flip houses, if you're like, oh, I only want to do rentals or wholesale or whatever, this webinar is going to be really valuable for you because this stuff we're talking about, how to analyze, how to estimate a rehab budget, how to figure out your ARV, all those things are important for anybody no matter what they're doing. So stay with me no matter what. Now, again, my name is Brandon Turner. You can follow me on Instagram at @BeardyBrandon, BeardyBrandon. Brandon. And I'm also on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else. But Instagram is my jam, so come follow me there. I like to post a lot of my real estate stuff going on over there, plus random big pictures of my little girl. So thank you guys for showing up today. It is a busy day, I'm sure, for everybody. But the fact that you're here tells me that there's something a little bit different about you, and not in a bad way, in a good way. So you guys are awesome. So what are we going to be talking about today? First of all, I'm going to go over the 5 biggest mistakes investors make when analyzing properties. After a little bit of housekeeping here, I'll do first. But then we're talking about the 5 biggest mistakes that investors make because there are some big ones. And trust me, I've made, I think, every single one of them. Then we're going to talk about how to estimate rehab costs like a champ. Now, people struggle with this quite a bit. I'm going to walk you through my strategy on how I estimate rehab costs. After that, we'll talk about the rules of thumb, or mainly the 70% rule, what it is, what it isn't, and why you may or may not want to use it. Then we'll talk about the BiggerPockets fix and flip calculator. This is what I currently use to estimate, to do all my analysis on properties. In fact, I do them almost every single day. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit how we do that. In fact, why don't we, a little bit later in today's webinar, we'll pick a real life property in my area probably, and we'll go decide on what price I should offer on it. Does that sound fun? Yes? Nod your head. I can see you. Yeah, you right there, sitting in your chair. Yeah, you. Just kidding, I can't. Every time I do that, people are probably like freaking out like, oh shoot, he can see me, I'm in my underwear. No, I can't see you. It's okay, you can be in your underwear. Nothing weird about that. But we are going to look at a real life deal. It should be a lot of fun. Then I'll talk about a few other tools on BiggerPockets that can help you achieve success when you're flipping houses or doing rentals or whatever. And then we're going to end this thing with some Q&A. Does that sound good? Should run about an hour. I tend to run a little bit over, but I'm going to really try today to keep this at an hour and then Q&A after that. So book out the next hour. If you've got kids running around and you're, put them outside. If you've got a husband or wife that's talking to you, tell them to stop talking to you for a while. And if you got your phone beeping and stuff, just throw it out the window. It's okay. This is worth more than that $700 iPhone. Trust me, you're going to get a lot of stuff out of this. But really my point is, guys, if you are serious about this, if you're serious about real estate in your future and you want to learn this stuff, the stuff we're talking about today can be the difference of tens of thousands of dollars in profit or tens of thousands of dollars in losses. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, this is so important. If you understand how to analyze deals, you can do a lot of cool stuff in this world. You can achieve financial freedom, buy rentals, buy flips, make a lot of money, quit your job. But if you don't analyze correctly, you're going to run into a lot of trouble. So again, pay close attention, do what you got to do to focus in on this for the next hour. My goal today is by the end of today's webinar, you will know how to analyze a fix and flip deal with enough confidence to start making offers. In fact, I want every single person here by the end of this webinar to start analyzing deals every day and to start making offers. All 626 people that are here right now. Isn't that crazy? There's more people here right now than were in my graduating class in high school. It's insane. I was such a nerd in high school too, so now I feel kind of cool because I'm talking in front of 600 people. This is crazy. Now, I do have a worksheet. I believe strongly in worksheets. They help people remember the most important things. So I put these worksheets together so that you can take the most amazing notes in the world that can help you. You can reflect back later on this. So go ahead and download that. Go to biggerpockets.com/531 worksheet. 531 worksheet. Why 531? Because today is 531. That's the date, right? Today's May 31st. So at least if you're watching this live right now here on this webinar, pro members can watch webinar replays. If you're a pro member, you wouldn't even have to watch this live. You can watch this later. And if you're not a pro member, what's wrong with you? Come on. No, I'm just kidding. But I do have actually a discount code for pro. I'll give you guys later. It's kind of a reward for hanging out for the entire hour. Plus, I got some other cool stuff at the end too. But anyway, I will give you a discount code for pro if you're not already a pro member. But that's one of the benefits of pros. You can watch webinar replays. But anyway, back to this. Download today's worksheet, biggerpockets.com/531 worksheet. Scientific studies show people who take notes tend to remember and apply the things they learned much better. This is going to help you. And let's be honest, I talk a little bit quick and I kind of ramble sometimes. And, I want to make sure you guys get the most important stuff. And you don't remember, like, I don't know, the cake all over my daughter's face, which I'll show you a picture in a little bit. She just had her first birthday. All right, so special gift just for showing up today. Before we get into the content, I want to make sure you guys start today's webinar with massive value. So even if you leave right now because you're like, this sucks, I hate Brandon, at least you got some massive value out of it. So I want you guys to write this URL down. Don't download it right now. It'll be ready later. I mean, it'll be available whenever, but it'll just distract you if you download it now. But write this down, biggerpockets.com/books, BOOKS. Again, biggerpockets.com/books. What this is, it's the top 20 real estate books every investor should read. A free guide from BiggerPockets.com. Now, basically what this is there's hundreds of real estate books out there. There's a lot of bad ones. There's a lot of great ones. And so how do you know which ones are the good ones? Well, these are my recommendations. These are my top 20 real estate books every investor should read. Bar none, read these books. And this little guide I put together just gives you kind of a description of each book, why it's important, who it's good for, and even gives you a link over to Amazon. You can go pick it up or buy it on Kindle or download it illegally off the internet. Don't do that. All right, so that's your first free gift today, biggerpockets.com/books, just for being awesome. Now, I've got a couple other special gifts for you guys. I'm not going to give you two a little bit later. First of all, I'll give you the entire slide deck from today's webinar. Every single slide that we're about to go through, I'm going to give you guys later in the webinar if you stick through. And I'm going to give you a book called 7 Years to Seven-Figure Wealth, a roadmap to earning your first $1 million. Just kidding. But not really. Your first million, not kidding. By investing in small multifamily properties. Now, this is a book I wrote a couple years ago. It's an ebook. You can read it in under 2 hours. But this book basically walks you through a mathematical strategy for making $1 million in net worth over the next 7 to 10 years. You can do it in 7. You can even do it less if you wanted. But the example I use in the book goes in 7 years. So it's like if you did this in year 1, this in year 2, this in year 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you could have $1 million. And it's just a way of explaining this concept that I call cash flow recycling. One of the most powerful things in the real estate industry is called cash flow recycling. If you don't know what that is, you've got to read this book. It'll change your life. It changed mine. So hang tight to the end. I'll give you guys that. Now, real quick about BiggerPockets. Who are we? What are we? What are we doing? We are the real estate investing social network, not like the cat videos and politic arguments over on Facebook. We're like the real estate social network. So we're helping each other become more successful through social networking, through chatting, online networking. We're also a marketplace. People buy and sell deals on BiggerPockets. And probably what we're most known for is we are an information hub. We've got blogs, forums, podcasts, webinars just like this one, webinar replays if you're a pro member. We've got forms, files. We've got, what am I missing? I mean, so much stuff. Books. We've got like 7 of the top 20 real estate books in the entire world that are published by BiggerPockets Publishing over on Amazon. It's crazy. Anyway, most of everything at BiggerPockets, 99% of BiggerPockets is free for anybody to go and access. Now, we do have some amazing tools like the networking tools and the analysis tools, which our pro members pay for, and that keeps the lights on for everyone else who can't afford a pro membership. But 99% of everything at BiggerPockets is free because we believe strongly that if we can help you become successful with information, then you can use our tools to accelerate that. That's kind of our theory, right? It's a kind of a different business model from all the gurus who are like, just pay us $25,000 and we'll teach you the secrets to real estate. You guys, there are no secrets to real estate. So what we did is we're like, here's information, take it. The most you're gonna pay for information is probably, I don't know, 20 bucks for a book. Now, real quick about me, my name is Brandon Turner. That's me there, the hairy fella next to the beautiful woman. That's my wife, Heather. She is awesome. She is my co-pilot along this real estate journey. She helps manage a lot of our properties and takes care of them. There's Charlie and Ruby, my little puppies. They're awesome. Yes, Charlie does wear pajamas sometimes. And that is my little girl, Rosie. Actually, last week, she turned 1 year old. Such a great day. If you want to watch the funniest, cutest video ever, go check it out on my Instagram, @BeardyBrandon, of her digging into her birthday cake. It's like the entire thing is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Don't watch it now, it'll distract you. But that is my little girl, Rosie. She is the reason that I've hustled so hard the last 10 years because I knew someday I would have a little kid. I knew I'd have a little baby of some kind, and I wanted to be the kind of dad that could be there every night and day for her whenever I needed to be. I didn't want to be slave to a job that I had to work 9 to 5. This is why I hustled so hard. And I think that's important, right? If you don't have like a why on why you're working towards real estate, you're going to give up. Like, what is your why? Is it your kids, family, travel? Keep that in mind as we go forward because when things get tough, a lot of people quit. This is my why. What's yours? Now, I'm a real estate investor. Like I said, I've got 52 units right now out here in Western Washington State. I'm looking for more. I'm trying to actually hit 100 units by the end of the year. My goal is to have 100 units by December 31st of this year. And I think I should do it. I'm actually looking for a mobile home park. So if anybody has a mobile home park for sale, let me know. I'm the author of several books, like the book on investing in real estate with no one money down, and the book on managing rental properties, and the book on rental property investing. And by the way, guys, this Heather here, this is my wife, Heather. She co-wrote the book on managing rental properties, and she's the smartest landlord I know. So if you have any rental properties, you have to read that book, and then leave me a review on Amazon because it makes her feel good. I'm also the co-host of the BiggerPockets podcast. You may have heard that. It's like the largest real estate podcast on planet Earth. And random story about myself, I once fell off a horse when I was 7, and it stepped right on my head. So now you know why I am the way that I am. Moving on. This right here is a flip. This is a property that I did a couple years ago. And this was a duplex. And as you can tell, there's actually 2 doors, one right there and one right there, right? But I've been watching all the flipping shows. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to flip this house. And I was so excited about flipping this property. And I went in there, and I'd done a few flips before, and some of them were successful and some of them weren't as successful, but I was all ready to do this deal. I went in there and I spent a year of my life fixing it up. Me and I hired one guy, and then my wife were there every day for a year. This is what it looked like at the end. We turned it into a single family house. We put a staircase right up the middle of it, this big grand white staircase. It was beautiful. Cherry hardwood floors, granite countertops, travertine tile in the kitchen and bath. I mean, this thing was unbelievable. I was so impressed with it. And you know what? At the end of the day, you know how much money I made on this deal? Take a guess. None. In fact, I lost $10,000. I lost 10 grand on this deal. That sucked. Not only that, that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was I spent a year of my life working on this property and another year of my life trying to sell this property. I held it for 2 years. I had so many sleepless nights. So many sleepless nights on this property. I was freaking out the whole time. And you know why? Because I didn't analyze it correctly. Do you guys know how much that hurts and sucks, right? Like all my family and friends see this property that I just flipped and they're like, wow, you did a good job on it. But nobody knew that the truth was like, I wasn't making any money on this deal. I lost money on this deal. That was miserable. So my goal today is to make sure that doesn't happen to you. I learned since how to analyze deals correctly. See, I was just using like a spreadsheet that I kind of put together and I didn't really know what I was doing. And so over the 6 years since I did this job, I think this was 6 years ago I did this project. I've gotten a lot better. And so today, actually, last week, I put my house on the market. I flipped another property. I mean, I've flipped a few since then, a number of them. But for example, last week I put a house on the market. We listed it on Friday. Saturday morning, I had 2 offers, both full price. I made them both bid a little bit higher and ended up selling it for above asking price. And I should clear $15,000 to $20,000 on that flip. Just a base hit. It's not like a world record here. But I probably have a total of maybe 10 hours into the entire flip. And I didn't do any of the work. But in terms of negotiating the contract, sitting down at the ladies' kitchen table, buying the property, managing the contract, there's maybe 10, 15 hours into that project. And I'll make $15,000 to $20,000 on it, depending on if they, how the closing costs work out and depending on how the inspection goes, if they want us to fix anything, which I doubt. But if they do, I might make less. But if everything goes well, I might make up to 20 grand. What would you do extra with an extra 20 grand right now? And you know what? If you could do that once, couldn't you do that 10 times a year? There are flippers that I know that are making well over $1 million a year. Some people are making over $1 million a year. I'm not making $1 million a year in flipping. I don't flip that much, but some guys are. And even if you made 10% of that, if you were making 6 figures, if you were making an extra 20,000, there's some cool things that you can do with life when you've got that money coming in. That's what I love about flipping houses is that if you do it right, you can make really good money for the amount of time you put into it. Like you can put 10, 15, 20 hours into a project and make 10, 15, 20, $30,000, right? But you got to know how to analyze it right. Here's a couple more pictures. Here's before, here's after. Check that out. Before, after, before, after, before, after, before, after. We opened up the walls, all this cool stuff. So anyway, don't make the mistakes that I make. And let's go over some of those mistakes. Like I said, I want to go through the 5 biggest mistakes that flippers make when analyzing deals. You guys ready? All right, number 5, they don't plan for the costs of the lender. So we're going to go over this a little bit later and when we analyze a deal, but when you borrow money, whether it's from a bank, whether it's from a private money lender or a hard money lender or a line of credit, whatever you plan that, it's expensive. Money is expensive. This is one of the things that I screwed up on when I was working on this project is that I didn't plan for the costs of the lender, all the loans that I took. In fact, I ended up putting a lot of repairs on credit card and I wasn't analyzing for the credit card payments. And so plan for lender costs. Understand how much does it cost to borrow the money, upfront fees and monthly payments. Another thing, people make mistakes all the time. They forget the other holding costs. They forget other holding costs, things like the utilities that add up over time, right? You got to pay utilities every month, the mortgage payment, things like, closing costs. I guess that's more a part of the other one, but anything that as you're holding it, I want to say utilities, Brendan's and companies, most of it. Water, sewer, garbage, electricity, taxes, that's a holding cost. Insurance, that's a holding cost. All those things can add up over time. So if you don't add those all up and include them, you could be off by thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars on your flip. Number 3, here's one of the biggest ways people screw up. And this is probably the number 1 reason people screw up when they're estimating or trying to do the numbers on a project. They underestimate the rehab budget. They underestimate the rehab budget. In other words, they're like, yeah, we can estimate, $30,000 to fix this property up. And in fact, when I did this property, I thought I was going to do it for 40. You know what I actually spent on it? 60. I thought I was going to do 40. I spent 60. I completely blew the budget. We'll talk about that in a minute, how to estimate the rehab budget. Then number 2, overestimating the ARV. In other words, what is a property? What is the property worth when it's all fixed up and ready to go? How much is it worth when it's all fixed up? This is another thing that people struggle with. How do you determine that? Well, we could spend a while on that, but basically there's a few ways. The idea though is the ultimate idea is you want to know what other similar properties that are already fixed up have sold for. That's the goal, right? So for example, when I put my house on the market last Friday, we listed it at $99,000. Well, basically $199,999. And how did I determine that? Well, I looked at all the other properties that have sold in the last few months. And the most common sale, there was a lot of them selling between 80, 90, 100, 110. But the ones that were 110 were a little bit nicer than mine. They had a nice garage and some stuff my house didn't. But the ones that were like 80 or 90,000, my house was way better than those. And so I just decided that 99.9 was a good price, and that's how I determined my ARV. So if you've got to do this. Now, if you're not good at that, and if you're brand new, I'd highly recommend just talk to a good real estate agent. They can help you out with that quite a bit. They can help you out. They can tell you exactly what they think the property is worth. And number one, the biggest mistake people make when analyzing deals is they don't do a thorough analysis. They do what's called a napkin analysis, which means they basically look at the property and they go, yeah, that looks pretty good. I bet you I could flip that house. And then they don't do anything more than that. Or maybe they pull out a piece of scratch paper and they're like, all right, so I can buy it for 50 and I can put in 20 and I can sell it for 80 and I can make this. Like those are called napkin analyses. And yeah, sometimes you can get lucky and it can work out. But most of the time, like you just can't, your brain can't comprehend all those little nuances. And you can't just do like the 70% rule, which we'll talk about in a minute. It's helpful, but you can't rely on that. You can't rely on rule of thumb. You've got to do a thorough analysis, and that's what we're going to talk about here in just a moment. But before we get there, let's talk about how to estimate rehab costs like a champ. Because, we talked about that was mistake number 3 was underestimating the rehab budget. So let's talk about how do you actually estimate those rehab costs and make sure you get the right numbers. Cool? All right. Number one, you've got to do a detailed walkthrough of the property, a detailed walkthrough. So what I do, here's a quick tip for you guys. Go get your phone, like your smartphone, and turn it on video mode and go walk through the house. Go walk through the house and figure out everything you can think of that you can see. For example, I walked through, I wish I could show you my video from one I did the other day. Actually, I have one on my Instagram account. If you go to my Instagram, you can watch one I did the other day. But I walked through and I just talked to myself. I'm like, all right, so I'm walking up to the front door. Landscaping's pretty nasty. We're gonna need some all new landscaping. Now we're walking up the front door. Oh man, the front porch needs to be painted, but it's pretty nice. Front door needs a new front door. The siding looks pretty good, but it needs a paint job on the outside. Okay, now I'm walking in the house and blah, 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 blah. And I keep going on that, right? And so that's how I do it. I walk through the entire house. The video ends up usually about 15 minutes long total. So do a detailed walkthrough is step number 1. And like I said, take photos or a video. I love doing a video because you can watch it over and over when you get home. All right, number 2, you want to divide everything that you found into categories. Now, these are the categories that I use. This came from the book on estimating rehab costs written by Jay Scott. Jay Scott is awesome. He wrote a book on how to do all this, but I'm kind of giving you the summary right here, the summary. But basically, I divide things into like roof, gutters, siding, exterior painting, decks, concrete, garage, landscaping, septic, foundation, demo, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, framing, insulation, sheetrock, carpentry, interior painting, cast flooring, permits, mold, termites, and miscellaneous. Those are kind of the general components. And you don't have to memorize this right now. I'll give you guys the entire slide deck presentation at the end of this webinar, so hang tight for that. But this is what I do. I just take everything and I put it down and I just list everything, either in a spreadsheet or I'll do it directly on BiggerPockets. Hey, by the way, some people are saying they're having some technical difficulties. I don't know why. Jonathan said the audio was 100% okay, but here's a quick tip for you guys. If you're having trouble with the audio, take your mouse and click directly on the screen. That will pause it for a second and leave it for like 30 seconds or a minute, and then click it again and it should start going. Basically, that'll like pause it, so to speak. And that usually helps it kind of like catch up. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing it, pausing it for more than like 5 minutes or you might lose the entire thing, but let it go for a minute or so and it might work a little better. So, all right, number 3, then you need to get bids on the various categories. So for example, once you determine all the plumbing stuff that's wrong, so hey, we need all new bathtubs, new faucets here, we need new, blah, 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 blah. Now you go to a plumber and you get a bid, or go to a home store, like Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, and try to figure that out. Like figure out what they cost. Like obviously some things are more easier and more difficult. For example, plumbing might be really tough because if you don't know plumbing, you're not going to know what to buy. But some things like painting, you can be like, well, how much paint, like does a gallon of paint cover? Okay, how many square foot does it need to be painted? You can figure that stuff out. There's also what I do a lot of times is I'll go on Google and I'll type in like painting estimation tool into Google, and you'll find like a ton of them. Like everyone has their own. Like Sherwin-Williams has one, Home Depot has one, and then just ask you basic questions like, what's the square footage of the home? What kind of paint do you want to use? And there's even some websites that will give you the average price that contractors charge. And so I'll just walk through each step, and it takes maybe an hour to be able to do this, to do a real thorough thing, but it usually works okay. All right, number 4. When in doubt, step number 4, spend more times at like Home Depot or Lowe's. Like the more time you spend there getting familiar with like what things cost, the better you'll be at estimating rehab. Another one, you can always ask for help. Ask for help on the BiggerPockets forums. Ask for help on the BiggerPockets forums. Option number 3, and this is not even an option, this is a requirement. Read the book on estimating rehab costs. If you struggle with estimating rehab costs, you owe it to yourself to read this book. I mean, what's it gonna take you, 5 hours to read this book? Could it save you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 down the road? Could it help you get to the next level in your investing? Like, is there any reason not to read that book? Of course not. Go to Amazon and pick it up. It's like 20 bucks. You have no excuse. All right, so let's move on next and talk about the 70% rule. Let's go talk about the 70% rule. So the 70% rule is not actually a rule, it's a rule of thumb. It's a rule of thumb. And what it says is, I'll walk through that in a minute, but before I give you what the 70% rule is, I'll say this. It is not a replacement for doing your own numbers. I'll say that again. It's not a replacement for doing your own analysis, your own math, your own numbers. What it is a quick way to kind of guess on how much a property you can pay for it. And this is what the 70% rule says. Oh, I think I have a typo in here. I saw it earlier. Well, there's a typo in here, but I'll get to it. All right, so imagine you have $200,000 for after repair value. That's what it's worth when it's all fixed up, right? Now, take 70% of that. 70% of 200,000 is 140,000. Then subtract out your rehab costs. So what is 140 minus 30? 110. Which means according to the 70% rule, the most you can pay for the property is 110. Does that make sense? So 200,000 times 70% minus the rehab is going to be your max offer. Now again, that's not a substitution for doing your own numbers. This is just a quick and dirty way to kind of give a quick and dirty answer, right? If somebody comes to me and says, "Hey Brandon, I want to sell you my house," I'd be like, "Okay, well, tell me about it." And they're like, "Well, it's 3-bedroom, 2-bath in this neighborhood." I'd be like, "Okay, well, all fixed up and beautiful, it's probably worth $200,000. So, how much work do you think it needs?" And they'd be like, "I don't know, maybe $10,000, which they're always wrong. So I'd be like, "Okay, it probably needs about $30,000. Then I know just based on that 2 seconds of talking to them that I could probably pay around 110. So if they come to me and says, "Yeah, I want to charge you 180,000, I know that they're way off. I know that they're way off, right? And so I don't want to spend too much time in that conversation because they're so far off, right? But if they tell me, "Yeah, I'm looking to get around 100, boom, now that's something I'm excited about, right? Or if they say 140, well, maybe we can play with some numbers and see if we can make it work, right? It's just a quick and dirty rule of thumb. Rules of thumb are great for a quick screen analysis, but not for purchases. Does that make sense? All right. So let's talk about how do you really analyze a fix and flip? You guys got paperwork ready, this blank paper or the worksheet ready, because we're going to go through in-depth how to analyze a fix and flip. All right. It all begins with the ending. It begins with the after repair value. What's the property worth when it's all fixed up? We already talked about that earlier, how you can figure that out. And I'll show you a little bit more information on that later when we analyze the deal in real life. But keep in mind, after repair value, it begins there. That is the most important number in this entire process. This is so important. I'm going to say that again. The after repair value is the most important number in the entire process. You need to get this number right because everything's based on that. So you're going to take your after repair value and you're going to subtract out the closing costs when you sell the property. So let's say your after repair value is $200,000. You're going to subtract out the closing costs you have to pay when you sell it. Now, typically you got to pay a real estate agent 6%, right? So that's 12 grand right there. You got to pay the title company. It's usually $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, and you might have to pay a couple $1,000s in the buyer's closing costs. They always seem to ask for that, right? So overall, you might lose $15,000, $16,000 in closing costs. Next, after repair value, You want to subtract the sales closing costs minus your holding costs. In other words, the entire time you hold on to the property, it costs you money every month. It might cost you, let's say, $1,000 a month. So if you held the property for 6 months, anybody know how much that is? What's 6 times 1,000? Okay, we'll say $6,000. So you want to subtract out your holding costs. All right, next you've got your rehab costs. Your rehab costs. How much are you going to spend fixing this property up? Right? So maybe, you can walk through and maybe decide $30,000 your rehab. Okay, so subtract that out. Next, you've got your financing costs. What is your loan cost? What's all the lender going to charge you? What's the monthly interest going to be? If you didn't include interest on the holding costs, you'll want to include it here. You can put it either place. You want to subtract out the total financing costs. And then you want to subtract out your purchase closing costs. When you buy the property, you got to pay some closing costs as well. You got to pay and you don't have to pay the real estate agent. Usually the seller pays that, but you got to pay the title company. You might have to pay a few, random expenses here and there. For me, usually it's around $2,000 to $3,000 when I buy a property. If you use a lender, they might charge you a lot more, but you can put that under finance or you can put it under closing costs. It's up to you. And lastly, you want to subtract out your purchase price. Your purchase price. After all that, what you're going to buy the property for. After all that, you have your profit. So basically, we take what we have at the end and subtract out all the expenses, and we're left with our profit, right? So if you don't remember this right now, don't worry. I'm going to give you this slide deck at the end of the presentation. But now, where it gets a little bit confusing, I'm going to overwhelm everybody here, and then a lot of you guys are going to be like, I'm too confused. I'm going back to watching my Dancing with the Stars. I think that's on tonight. I want to encourage you guys. This might confuse you a little bit, but hang tight. I'm going to show you an easier way to do this in a second. But the reason that people get so confused and why this can get kind of complicated is because each one of these includes a lot of things. For example, closing costs might include transfer tax, agent fees, title fees, escrow fees. Holding costs could include water, sewer, garbage, loan payments, credit card payments, property tax payments, insurance. Rehab could include labor, material, overages. Finance costs could be points, fees, extra closing costs, or added to the loan or financed in. Like, what if you borrow money and then you add the finance charges to the loan? How does that affect your numbers, right? That can change things. Or what if you paid them up front? Or what if you pay them at the end? That all changes, depends on how you structure your loan. Then you've got your, when you buy the property, your transfer tax, your agent fees, your title fees, your escrow fees. You got all these things added up. And so people tend to make little mistakes here and there. And let me tell you guys something very, very important. Little mistakes can make a big dent in your bottom line. They can turn a great deal to a negative deal. Or if you do it right, they can turn a great deal into an even better deal if you know how to analyze deals correctly. So like I said, I actually want to walk through a real life deal together with you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flash over to my screen share real quick. Now, when I did this a few weeks ago, the entire webinar crashed and I lost everybody. So if that happens today, right now, currently, there are 795 people here. I really hope this doesn't crash, but if it does, listen close, we're going to go over to Facebook Live. If something crashes, just go over to facebook.com/BiggerPockets and look for we're going to do a Facebook Live. But if it works fine, then I'm not going to do that. But if it crashes, I will pick this back up there. Does that make sense? All right, so let's go. I'm going to turn the screen off and I'm going to open it back up in showing you guys my browser, my actual web browser. So hold on one second. It's Brandon. Hi, how's it going? Let's see, I'm going to open up where is it at? Oh, I know why. I got to shrink this. Hold on. It's coming. I know you're excited. By the way, if you guys have never seen me before, hi, my name is Brandon. All right, hold on. Here we go. Like 15, 20 seconds or so. Ryan said, sweet, didn't crash. Good. All right, so what we're going to do now, guys, is I started here on biggerpockets.com/analysis. Now, you can get there by just going to biggerpockets.com/analysis, or you can go in here and go like tools, click on tools, or go to house flipping calculator, rental calculator. We have 4 calculators primarily on BiggerPockets. We have the house flipping, the rental property, the BRRRR. We got the BRRRR and the wholesaling calculator. But before we go and analyze a deal, let's go over and find a deal together. I was looking in Harmony, Minnesota for my parents the other day, but let's go look in my area, Montesano, Washington. In fact, there's a deal that came on the market today. I wonder if it's here yet. Well, actually, I don't know this one. What is this?
What is this house? So I live in a town of Montesano, Washington. It's a small little town, but it's the best house around. Prices range anywhere between, I mean, this is a teardown. This is basically a lot. All the way up to $795,000. That's kind of the range in my area. Here's a 715, but usually they're between $100,000 and $300,000. But this one it caught my eye instantly. Megan said, shout out from Montesano. Megan, are you from Montesano? That's crazy if you are. That's awesome. Anyway, I love Montesano. All right, so this house right here caught my eye because it's only $65,000. I've never seen this on the market before. I didn't even know this was here. How long has this been on the market for? How did I not see this? Montesano Brady area, 2-bedroom, 1-bath on a 1/4 acre, fireplace, dining area. Oh, it's an auction property. That's interesting. Let's look at some pictures here. We need some help, but ooh, look at that. That's a pretty property right there. Okay, so we're gonna need all new cabinets. We're gonna need all new flooring. We got some fun paneling there. I mean, this house needs some work, and it's only a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, which I don't love 2-bedroom, 1-bath houses, but you know, if the numbers work, the numbers work. It's small, so it shouldn't be as much to rehab it. So, okay, so based on what we see here, let's talk about this deal right here. Let's see if we can flip this property. I think that might be fun to look at. So, what I'm going to do is go back over here to biggerpockets.com/analysis. I'm going to click start here to start your analysis. And then I'm going to go to the fix and flip calculator. Now, if we wanted to keep it as a rental, we could do the rental property calculator, or we could go to the BRRRR calculator. We could go to the wholesale calculator. BRRRR calculator is fun. It's about like fixing up, like fixed to rent properties, but we're not going to fix to rent. We're going to fix to sell right now. So let's go ahead and start a new report. Now, the calculators are very simple, and the best thing about them is that you can analyze an entire deal in 5 minutes or less. Don't believe me? Check this out. We're going to do this thing together in 5 minutes. First of all, what do we want to call this? I'm going to call this the Hiram House in Monte Brady. Brady is like a little town next door to Monte. It's basically the same thing. All right. Property address was 53 Hiram Hall Road, City of Montesano, Washington, 98563. I know that because I'm looking up here at the top and I see that it says that. All right, so there's the information. So let's go to the photo. We got to add a photo to this thing. We don't have to, but I like to put photos in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go take a picture of this guy right here. And I'm just going to upload it to, I'm going to drag it over, choose file, and now it's uploading. Sales description. I can write whatever I want in there. I usually just take whatever the agent wrote, like that. Montesano Brady area, 2-bedroom, 1-bath home on 0.25 acres, approximately fireplace dining area, auction property. Wow, that agent went above and beyond with that description, didn't they? Wow, they did a really good job. All right, so with that, we can enter in some more information if we want to, like bedrooms and bathrooms here. 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, house square footage. If I want to put that in, what was it? 986 square feet, 986. And year built, I might not even worry about that right now. I'll leave that for now. I'll come back to it if I want to later. That's it for page 1, right? We only got 3 pages, 1, 2, and 3. So down here, we've got our after repair value. What's this property worth when it's all fixed up? But Brandon, I don't know how to find that. I'm going to go back to watching TV. I think, I don't know, House of Cards is on tonight. By the way, House of Cards' new season is out. I watched 2 episodes last night. But don't do that right now. Stick through. When it's hard, just figure the stuff out. And check this out. To help you out with that and to keep you from watching Dancing with the Stars, if you hover over these question marks, if you hover over the question mark, it actually explains like this. Check this out. This is the estimated worth of the property after all repairs have been completed. All of the calculations are based on this number. If you aren't sure how to estimate this number, visit this link, Estimating ARV. Watch this video. It even gives you a link to a YouTube video on how to analyze a fix and flip property, or ask a real estate agent for help. So what I think this property is worth when it's all fixed up, I'm going to go with 135. This property is worth that. And how do I know that? Because I know my market pretty good. I know my market. All right, then we got your desired profit. Desired profit. So how much money do you want to make on a flip? What do you guys think? In the chat area, let me know. How much money in the chat area? Let me know how much you would want to make on a flip. I'm just curious. Like on a flip like this, it's not a really high-end flip. It's not like it's not $1 million house. But what would you want to make on the flip? I'll give you guys about 10 seconds to fill that out. Javara said 20,000. Grant said 20, 20, 10, 30, 30, 35, 50, 25, 30. All right, those are about where I'm at. You know what? I'm going to say it's 30 because I don't want to do the work myself. I'm going to have a partner take care of all the rehab stuff. So I'm going to say 30 so there's enough meat on the bone for everybody. Somebody said $1 million. Yeah, I wish. All right, so now we got page 3. We got done with page 1 and 2. Page 3, what do we think it's going to be to fix up? Check this out. This is where it's really cool. We could guess on this, or we could click this expand cost button and look, check out the categories: roof, concrete, gutters, garage, siding, landscaping, exterior painting, septic, decks, porches. Do these sound familiar? That's right. They are the exact same categories that Jay Scott uses in the book on estimating rehab costs, and the same things I showed you guys earlier. So all I do is walk through step by step, and even you can do this on your phone. This is mobile friendly. So as you're walking through the house, you can even do this and enter in each section one at a time. But for now, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and guess $40,000 because I don't know. I haven't walked through the house yet, but based on what I see, $40,000 would go a long way on a 1,000 square foot house. I bet you that's new flooring, that's paint, that's carpet, new roof probably, that's new cabinets. I could do quite a bit for 40 grand. So I'm going to guess on 40 grand for now. And later on, we can adjust that as needed. All right, so now we got our purchase closing costs. When we buy the property, what I got to pay, I said earlier, it's usually I pay about between $2,000 and $3,000. I'll say $2,500. When we sell the property, we got to pay another probably $2,500 in closing costs, plus the agent commission of probably 6%. And then we've got our holding costs. Every month, we've got to pay some money. Now, we can either guess on this or we can expand it and choose. Well, I'm going to pay a private lender probably about $1,000 a month. Property taxes, I'm probably going to end up paying around $100 a month for that. I'll probably pay around $50 for electricity, probably $100 for water, probably $50 for garbage. Insurance is probably going to cost me about $100 a month. And that's probably about it. So total, it adds up to $1,400 a month. That's a lot, but that's what it might actually cost. And then how long is it going to take me to buy, fix up, and then sell? I usually pick about 6 months. I know some people can do it quicker than that, but in my experience, so I can tell you actually, the house I just closed, we bought it on December 30th of last year, this one that I just got an offer on. And today's date is what? Today is May 31st, so it's supposed to close by the end of June, which means January, February, March, April, May, and June. Exactly 6 months it's going to take me to do that flip. So I'm going to say that. Let's calculate the results. Okay, before I show you, I'm going to do a quick poll. What do you guys think? Would you buy this deal at $64,000? Does it make sense to pay $64,000 for this deal? Let me know in the chat area. Does it make sense to buy the property for $64,000? I'll give you guys about 10 more seconds. I want everybody to vote. This is important. I'm not going to hold you to it. I'm not going to come to your house and slap you if you're wrong. Don't worry. But based on what you think right now, what do you think? So here's the beautiful part about real estate. If you're half listening, listen very close right now because this is very, very, very important. Turn off your Dancing with the Stars. I'm looking at you, Bob. All right. This is very important. The beauty of real estate is that every property has a number. Does that make sense? I'm going to say that again. Every property has a number. Your job is not to say yes or no, but how much. Right? So if you want to be successful, your job as an investor is simply to determine how much you can pay based on all of your financing, whatever, based on like how much you can, what it's going to cost you to do it. But you determine your price and then you make that offer. And you know what? 90% of the time, I get rejected. It's like high school all over again, right? I get rejected left and right. But the beautiful thing is, if I can get rejected 90% of the time, that will make me a millionaire. And it has made me a millionaire. Let me explain. Because if I can get rejected 9 out of 10 times, it means that for every 10 offers I put in, I can buy one deal. So if I wanted to buy 5 deals a year, I just need to put in 50 offers a year, right? Now that sounds like a lot, but if you space it out per month, that's only like 4 offers a month. But if you want to buy one this year, maybe put in a dozen offers, you'll probably make one. That's 1 per month, right? Okay, so with that, like that is like the most, like the thing that I wish somebody would explain to me when I got started is my job is merely to find the number that makes sense and then offer that. So let's go find out what makes sense. And the calculators here make it very, very easy. Check this out. According to the data you provided, you can afford to offer $43,500 to make a profit of 30 grand. This is based on an ARV of 135, a rehab budget of 40, and holding costs of 8,400. I've got the after repair value, I've got the profit, I've got my maximum offer, I've got my rehab budget here, I've got the picture. I can write more of a description. Down below, we've got our breakdown. And remember that list I walked you guys through earlier, how to estimate a project? Like all that's right here. I mean, this is the exact formula that we're talking about. We're taking the everything and we're determining how much profit we can make. There's all of our numbers. Over here, we've got all of our repairs. We've got our ROI if we care. We've even got this. This is super important. What if this property took me 45 days to do it? Well, then I might make 36 grand. But what if it took me 90 days to do this deal? Well, then I'm making 34 grand. What if it took me 270 days? Well, then it's going to take me 20. Then I'm only going to make 25,800. Do you guys see how important speed is when you're flipping houses? Look at that difference between 45-day flip and a 270-day flip. That's like 11 grand. Isn't that crazy? And this thing, I love this hypothetical section because people oftentimes go over in their budget. So I want to make sure this deal still makes sense, even if I go way over. A couple more cool things. If I click more actions, I can download this as a PDF. Check this PDF out. I love this thing. I use this all the time. So this PDF here, now, if we would have put the repairs in each one, it would have added them all up. But remember, I just guessed on 40. But we've got this nice looking PDF report here that shows all the numbers. Now, why is this helpful? Because I can take this to a lender, or I can take it to a partner, or I can take it to, whoever, like my spouse, right? I can take this to Heather and say, Heather, this is the deal that I want to do. In fact, guys, check this out. I'm going to hit print right now. I'm going to print this because you know what I'm going to do tomorrow? Guess what I'm going to do tomorrow? Anybody have an idea? That's right. I'm going to offer $43,500 on this deal. Yes, sometimes I offer on properties before I even look at them. But tomorrow, well, they said this was an auction deal, so I got to go figure out now how to bid on this. They said it was an auction, so I'll figure that out later. But now I know this price. Now, are they going to take, they're asking 64. Are they going to take 45? Probably not. 43. But it doesn't matter, right? I don't need every offer accepted. I only need my 1 in 10. Does that make sense? Nod your head if it makes sense, right? And this is why real estate, I hope my printer's not too loud, but I'm just printing that because I'm going to make an offer. Like, this is so fun because, like, real estate's this one big game. Find out what's worth, make the offer, and every once in a while you get one accepted and you become a millionaire. That's what real estate is. I love this stuff. By the way, guys, check this out. You can also share the PDF report like this. You can get a link. Now, this link is good for the next week. In fact, I'm going to put it in the chat room. I'll put it a few times just so everyone sees it. You guys can actually go click that link. It'll take you to a page. Or you can reanalyze the report as something else. I can reanalyze it as something else. Or I can upload my company logo. This is kind of cool. I can actually upload a company logo. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to try that. Let's see. Let's try this. So I can upload a logo to it. And then you don't have to have the BiggerPockets logo on the top. You can actually replace it with your own. So with all that, guys, I think this is pretty cool. Yes, you can make your own stuff. Again, you could do this by hand if you wanted to. It typically takes me probably 20 minutes to do a flip analysis by hand. It takes me 3 minutes to do it using these calculators. And it keeps track of all your analyses. Watch this. If you go up to here, you can view your previous reports. So here's that deal right here, right? So here's the Hiram house we just did. I can even track my progress. Did I make an offer? Yes. Or no, I didn't. Was the offer accepted? Yes. Did we close on the deal? Yes. Pretty sweet, right? I can also check out my BRRRR properties that I've done. I can check out my rental properties that I've done. I can check out my wholesale deals that I've done. I can do all that stuff just by analyzing that way. So anyway, kind of cool. I like them quite a bit. So tomorrow, there's 2 things I could do next. One, I could go walk through the property before making an offer. Because what if my $40,000 was way off? What if I could do this whole property for $20,000? So I might go walk through it, right? But maybe I'll just make the offer anyway and go check it out later if they start negotiating with me. That's usually what I do. All right, guys. So I'm going to switch back over to my face again because we're not done here. I want to talk to you guys about a little bit more stuff. And then I got the final bonuses at the end, the entire slide deck and that book, 7 Years of 7-Figure Wealth. So I'm going to just flash over to my face again, or at least over to the slide deck. So bear with me 30 seconds. All right, so C. Lee said this is really encouraging. I hope so. Isn't this like people complicate real estate? People complicate real estate so much. Real estate at its core is a very simple thing. It's very simple, and you guys can do it. Uh-oh, did we crash? I hope we didn't crash. You guys still there? Do I hear you guys? Everybody still there? Mark said, uh-oh. I hope that didn't mean there's something wrong. Check. Am I still there? I hope I didn't lose you guys. Okay, Sergio said, yeah. Okay, good. Whew. I was getting nervous there. All right, so like again, real estate is actually a very simple thing. You just have to work that process. So here's when I'm talking about real estate, like what I encourage people to do is what's called the 90-day challenge. I call it the 90-day challenge. And it says this: could you analyze one deal every day for the next 90 days? And I don't care if you do weekends. Take your weekends off. So for the next 90 work days, can you analyze one deal a day? That's only 5 minutes a day. Nod your head if you think you could do that. Now, out of those 90 deals that you analyze, let me ask you a couple quick questions. Will you be better or worse at analyzing deals at the end of that? If you think you'll be better at analyzing deals, nod your head. If you think you'll be awesome at it, nod your head. You should all be nodding your head because you will all be pros at it, right? Now, what about this? What if out of those 90 deals you analyzed, what if you made an offer on a few of those? Do you think you get the confidence to maybe do that? Maybe, right? No, maybe not. But I think if you analyze that many deals, it becomes second nature. You might as well make an offer because you build confidence. The more you analyze deals, the more confidence you feel. It's all about analysis. It really is. So I definitely want to recommend you guys check out the fix and flip calculator. Use it. If you have not used it yet, I definitely recommend it. So I explained earlier, BiggerPockets has 99% of our stuff is free. If you want access to these tools, though, unlimited, you do have to become a pro member. If you're not a pro member, like I said, I do have a discount code for you. I'll give you it in a little bit. But I highly recommend it because one simple reason. If the tools can help you buy one more deal a year, it pays for itself 10 times over, 100 times over, right? If it pays for itself, it pays for itself. If you can just buy one deal, or even better, if it can help you avoid one bad deal. If it can help you avoid one bad deal. So the big question, I want you guys to all answer this. I want you to answer this over in the chat area. Answer this question. Are you prepared to begin analyzing deals? Yes or no? It's a simple yes or no question. Are you prepared? Did I do my job today that you feel like you can go in and at least start playing with it? You can start experimenting and trying it, right? Do you feel like you're prepared to begin analyzing deals? And not everyone's going to say yes, but there are a lot of yeses. I love the hell yes. Woo! And some of you might still want to maybe watch this whole webinar again. But if you're a pro member, you can watch unlimited webinar replays, which is kind of cool. But if you're prepared to begin analyzing, say yes. And again, a lot of you are thinking yes, but you're not typing it. I really want to encourage you guys to type it because there's power in the words that you write and the words that you say. It's like, thinking in your head, I want to go on a diet, and then saying or telling somebody, yes, I'm going on a diet, right? There's a little difference there. Now, Angela said something important. Like she said, I don't feel confident knowing all the numbers to put in. And Angela, I totally get that. But the key is the first time you analyze a deal, you're going to be struggling. Just like my little girl, Rosie, when she started walking a few months ago, she took a step and fell down, and then took another step and fell down, and then another one and fell down. Right? But each step, she got stronger and she got better at it. The first time you analyze a deal, you're going to be a little bit nervous. But the second time and the third time and the fifth time, you're going to get better and better and better. You're going to say, well, I don't know how to figure out taxes. You're going to figure that out. You're going to say, I don't know how to figure out rehab costs. You're going to figure that out. Right? Now, a lot of you are saying funding is holding you back. Let's talk about that here in a little bit, because how many of you guys are struggling with funding? Raise your hand. I can see you, Bob, sitting in your underwear. Just kidding. But if you're struggling with funding, let's talk about that in the Q&A time, because I have a lot to say on that, and I don't want to use up the rest of our time here on that. But let's talk about funding, because funding is a lot easier once you understand the analysis part. All right. So I asked you guys, are you prepared to begin analyzing deals? Great. That's awesome. Congratulations. But there's a major problem with that. There's a major problem, and you can't say the word major problem here because it's in white for some reason. But that's not enough. It's not enough to know how to analyze deals. The key is taking action. I'm going to say that again, right? The key is taking action. How many of you guys know intuitively, or at least know how to lose 20 pounds? Raise your hand right now if you know how to lose 20 pounds. Every single person here should be raising their hand, right? Because it's two things, diet and exercise. But how many of us actually do that? How many of us have the power to go on that diet, or to lose that weight, or to go and jog every day, right? Very few of us actually take the action needed. There's a big difference between knowing something and taking action on it. That's the problem with these webinars. I love doing these webinars, but what drives me nuts is people who show up to these things week after week after week and never take action. I want you guys to go out there and buy property and make money, and then send me emails that say, Brandon, I'm so thankful that you did that webinar because I just bought my first flip and made $40,000. That's what I want to hear. But so many people can't. They don't take action. They never do the stuff. Let me give you an example of somebody who did take action. This is a guy named Dennis. He emailed me. Dennis, if you're here, you're awesome. He wrote this. he came to a webinar. He came to the webinar that I did called How to Make $1 Million in Real Estate, which is an awesome webinar. You should watch the replay of it. Dennis said, hey, Brandon, wanted to thank you and BP. After attending your webinar on how to make $1 million in real estate, I got inspired to take action. So last week I closed on my first deal. You guys, Dennis emailed me this like 3 weeks later. Like he jumped into it. He didn't wait 6 months or a year. He jumped in. Continuing, I now have a triplex that is rented and will cash flow very well for me. I can now call myself a real estate investor. I have a plan moving forward that'll make my business a success. Thank you. I love that. Dennis is awesome because he went out there and took action on this stuff. So the question is, are you going to be somebody like Dennis who goes out there and actually does something based on what you learned today? Or are you going to go out there and watch some more Dancing with the Stars? Right? Now, one big step you guys can take if you want to today, it's totally your choice, but I mentioned this earlier, is to jumping into BiggerPockets Pro. This can be a huge step on your journey to make things a lot more simple because it gives you the ability to analyze those deals and to keep track of your numbers. Now, if you're wondering what Pro is, you kind of got a little taste of it already, but let me explain in the next couple minutes what Pro is. First of all, you can make smarter purchase decisions being a Pro member when you have unlimited use of the calculators, the software, right? You can, whether you're doing a BRRRR property, a flip, a rental, a wholesale deal, when you can analyze those deals all the time, you can do some amazing things, right? And you can decide what are the good deals and what are the bad ones. Also, as a Pro member, you get to check out all the replays of past BiggerPockets webinars. You don't have to show up live if you don't want to. We try to record every one and we put them up in the Pro replay room. So there's webinars like the 5 most common roadblocks, 10 must follow steps to buy your first rental, how to quit your job through real estate, how to buy small multifamily, how to make $1 million, how to use BP to find properties, how to attract private money. Here's a funding one, how to attract private money to fund your real estate deals and all this stuff. There's over 50 hours of webinar replays accessible to Pro members. Also, as a Pro member, you can post ads in the marketplace. So things that you need, if you're looking for deals, go post it in the marketplace. If you're looking for people to work with, go post it in the marketplace. So what do you need right now? Also, as a Pro member, you get your profile, like that little badge next to your name, next to your face everywhere, that tells everybody on BiggerPockets that you are serious. It says, hey, man, I'm not going to be selling Mary Kay products while watching Dance with the Stars next week. Like, I'm into this thing for good to win it. I put my money where my mouth is. Also, having that Pro badge tells everybody not only that you're serious, but that you're somebody worth doing a deal with, right? When I go on and I want to find somebody to work with, I look for Pro members. I always do because it means those people are the serious ones. Also, you get that profile video on your profile, which is kind of cool as well. You get the little the little video where you can say, hey, my name's Brandon. Go check out mine later if you want, guys. Hi, my name's Brandon. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I do. Very, very powerful. Also, as a Pro member, you get increased networking abilities through BiggerPockets Meet. You get to download unlimited files and forms. You get expanded private message abilities. You can see who's checking you out, who's looking at your profile. And you get access to the Pro-only forum. And finally, you support the site that's changing how people build wealth in America. Look, there are people out there who cannot afford to put food on their table. So I don't want to encourage them to go Pro, right? They should not be going Pro if they can't put food on their table, but they should be able to learn anyway. And that's our business model. We teach for free at BiggerPockets, and our Pro members keep the lights on. And they help this movement called BiggerPockets. So why BiggerPockets Pro? If you're worried about buying a bad deal, I want to encourage you guys to run those numbers. Run those numbers until you're confident that you're getting good deals. If you need bank suggestions, partners, or properties, go into biggerpockets.com/meet. Go to biggerpockets.com/marketplace. Those are all places you can find those things. If you need to connect with investors, go to biggerpockets.com/meet or go and search out other Pro members you can connect with. If you're looking to get noticed by BiggerPockets, get that little Pro badge on your name. If you want to support us, we would love to have you. Now, how much is BiggerPockets Pro? That's the big question of the day. So BiggerPockets Pro starts at $10,000 or $100,000 a year. I'm totally kidding. We don't charge anything crazy like that. Like I said, these are numbers that some of the gurus charge. I know some of the gurus are charging up to $100,000 for their quote unquote education. Some are charging 50, some 20. You can get the really cheap guys at $10,000. Yeah, the real cheap ones. Or you might pay for like a boot camp, like a course from somebody. You might pay $2,000 for it. We don't believe in that stuff at BiggerPockets. We don't believe that you should be spending that kind of money. If you've got that money, you should be putting it into real estate deals, right? So BiggerPockets Pro is this reasonable, and that's $290 per year. That's per year. That's not per month, guys. That's per year. But like I promised you earlier, I do have a discount code. If you guys jump into BiggerPockets Pro and you upgrade to an annual membership, so you pay once a year for as long as you keep your membership, I've got a discount for you, and that is 20% off. I can actually give you guys 20% off. So instead of paying $290, you're paying $232 a year, $232. And if you do the math, that works out to 65 cents a day. That's like less than a cup of coffee, even from 7-Eleven. Like it's super, super affordable because we believe that everybody should become a pro member. I firmly believe that. We could have charged $10,000 or $20,000 and, we probably would make a lot more money. But we believe that everybody should become a pro member. So if you guys check out and use coupon code 531, that's again, today's date, 531, on the checkout page, you guys can get $58 off every year. That's locked in too. That's not going to go up next year when Pro goes up in price. That's locked in. Now, also some other bonuses just to encourage you guys to take action tonight. Just take action tonight. These are some annual subscription bonuses only. There's a bunch more. So first of all, I'm going to give you guys the most expensive item we sell on BiggerPockets. For $300, we sell in the BiggerPockets store the conference audio, recorded it back in 2012 at our conference. That's included tonight for no additional charge. You can listen to over 25 hours of the smartest real estate investors teaching you how it's done. You'll also get a digital copy of my book, The Book on Investing in Real Estate with No and Low Money Down. Again, the digital copy of this book. If you want to learn how to use a bunch of different things, if you want to learn how to use hard money lenders, private money lenders, home equity lines of credit, all that stuff, read this book, you guys. Read this book or listen to the book. So bonus number 4 is going to give you the audio version as well, which means you can listen to it in your car while you're driving. You're driving to work, while you're taking your dogs for a walk. Listen to it. Bonus number 5 and 6. I wrote a digital bonus book called How to Find Incredible Real Estate Deals. You can read that in under an hour, and it just walks you through direct mail marketing. How do you get leads to analyze? It walks you through the MLS. It walks you through driving for dollars and a bunch of other cool strategies for finding leads. Very, very important. And then this is huge, guys. I did these interviews with some of the smartest real estate investors I've ever met, and the guys that are using other people's money. Guys like Ben Leibovich, Chad Carson, Jay Scott, right? The guy who wrote the book on estimating rehab costs. Doug Larson, Mike Simmons, Michael Blanc, and Aaron Mazzarello. These guys are all using other people's money to invest in real estate. And in these interviews, they just explain exactly how they do that. They walk you through exactly how that's done. There's over 6 hours of video or audio content there as well. And then bonus number 7, you'll get a 2-hour video recording of how to invest in real estate with no and low money down. What this is basically like sitting down with me for 2 hours as I walk you through my story, like how I was able to put together all these deals using other people's money. Because I built almost my entire portfolio using other people's money. I never use my own money in real estate deals. Even today, I hardly ever use my own money. I like to use other people's money so I can keep mine available, right? I walk you through my story, each and every deal, how I was able to do it. Now, the key though is, guys, you have to use coupon code 531 and click this apply coupon button when you check out at biggerpockets.com/pro upgrade. Otherwise, you won't get all that cool stuff. You won't get all that cool stuff if you don't do that. So make sure you guys hit 531 and click apply coupon to do that. And remember, this is only for annual pro members, annual members. You could also choose a monthly option where you pay $29 a month, but you don't get all the cool bonuses with it. So I want to encourage you guys, if you're thinking about going pro, go annual. It's cheaper. You get all the bonuses. And most importantly, it holds your feet to the fire for a solid year. You're like, I'm in this. I'm not just stepping, putting my toe in the pool. I'm jumping in the deep end buck naked. I'm in this thing. And you guys, that's only $232. I know that's a chunk of money, but it's not $10,000 or $20,000. Now, before we go into the Q&A, I want to read this one last story because I love this. You guys, listen close to this. This perfectly shows that strategy I talked about earlier about finding the number that works for you and making an offer. Check this out. I just want to say thank you for the webinar. It was very informative and gave me several good ideas. I signed up for Pro and I used the calculator you demonstrated to evaluate and make offers on 2 deals that I found. This is where it gets cool. One was accepted, currently listed on the marketplace. The other, the seller was unyielding in price even after I showed them the numbers. Oh, well, their loss. So again, I just wanted to say hello and thanks. You guys know what I love about that more than anything else? Not that they got a deal accepted, not that they went pro. I mean, those are cool things, right? It's that they didn't get a crappy deal accepted. I love that. I love that they used the calculator to determine their purchase price, and they didn't let emotion cause them to lose 2 years of their life and 10 grand like I did. Again, I love that. I love that story. So again, annual versus monthly. I encourage you guys to go annual. You'll get the 20% off plus all the bonuses. Monthly, you'll still get the 20% off, but not all the bonuses. If you're currently a Plus member, you can also upgrade to Pro, get the same deal. And if you're already a Pro member, you can get the goods as well if you are Pro Annual, or you can use this link to go Pro Annual by going to biggerpockets.com/alreadypro. If you're already a Pro member, go to biggerpockets.com/alreadypro, and you can get all the goods as well. All right, guys, let's get to the bonuses and get out of here. Well, we'll do some Q&A too. The first one I gave you guys earlier, in case you missed it, was biggerpockets.com/books, BOOKS. You can download this anytime. It's good forever. Biggerpockets.com/books, BOOKS. After that, you can get the entire slide deck from today's webinar by going to biggerpockets.com/531slides. Biggerpockets.com/531slides. And you can get 7 years of seven-figure wealth by going to biggerpockets.com/7 years. Write that down. Write those URLs down. Biggerpockets.com/531slides and biggerpockets.com/7 years. And let's do some Q&A. But remember, guys, I'm not a lawyer or a CPA. I'm not giving you legal or tax advice. I'm just giving you guys my opinion. So keep that in mind. I mean, really about this whole webinar, but especially about the Q&A. I'm going to leave all this up here on the screen because it's kind of a summary of everything we talked about today. So I'll just leave this right here while we do some Q&A and we'll talk about stuff. So what kind of questions you guys got for me? Let's see. Letty asked if this works in pounds. Letty, it does not currently work in pounds. It only works in dollars. I do apologize for that. But if we ever come out for a UK version, I will try to let you know, or you'll hear about it. All right. Other questions. What do you guys got? Let's see. Let's see. Leah said, before I spend any money, I'd like to have time to discuss this great opportunity with my family. Totally agree. Totally fine with that. This coupon code is good till Friday night at midnight. So you guys have a couple days. If you're not sure about going pro, you have a couple days to do so. So think about it. However, if you do so tonight or right now, if you're doing it right now, do me a favor, guys. Listen close. If you're upgrading to pro right now or you're going to do so tonight, let me know in the chat area. Let me know in the chat area. I want to give you guys a shout out. By the way, Michael said, is it a discount for life? Yes, that is for life. Brandon said, will my Plus account get prorated? Yes, it will. So if you're already a Plus member, which includes like the marketplace stuff, if you want Pro, which I never recommend Plus, I only recommend Pro ever. Check that out. All right, what other stuff we got here? Questions. Brandon said, from Plus to Pro, whoop, whoop. Shelby said, how do you estimate repair costs on a house you can't walk through? Yeah, Shelby, so what I do is I look at all the pictures I can, or I look through the windows, and I try to figure out, is this a 10, 20, 30, 40, or $50,000 rehab? You can usually get a pretty good idea, and then I always err on the side of caution. So if I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, this is probably like between 30 and 40. I'll use 40 or maybe even 45, right? So definitely that. Mark Playton went pro. Whoop, whoop. Awesome. Carlos from Franzaball LLC signing up. That's awesome. Anthony just went pro. Very cool. Let's see. Dave said, how do you ensure there's no liens on a property? Well, typically when you buy a property, your title company will check. You should always use a title company or an attorney, but usually a title company, to buy property. And they will check to make sure there's no liens on it. And that's what I always do. You could also just ask a title company to run a title search for you, and some of them will do it for free for you. So there's that. Okay. Oh yeah. Financing. I said I would talk about financing. Let me turn my camera on. Again, I'll say the same thing I said earlier. When I turn my camera on, if I lose everybody for some reason, we'll go over to Facebook Live and finish this, but I think we'll be all right. So let me turn on.
So, let's talk about financing, but I'm going to give it a minute because it usually takes about 30 seconds for everybody to get here to my face. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Give me a thumbs up or something. I guess I can see you. In the meantime, while I'm waiting, everyone, give a few shout outs. We got Russ just went pro with lots of exclamation marks. I love it. Valencia already pro. Whoop, whoop. Jasmine went pro. Andrew went pro. Josh going pro. That's awesome, guys. Let's see. Jose already pro, but was monthly going to do the annual. That's awesome. You get all the bonuses then. Rosemary in Montana went pro. Whoop, whoop. Carl's going pro. All that good stuff. All right, guys. So let's talk about funding. So the deal with funding flips is that the better deal you get, the easier the funding is. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. And it sounds kind of obvious, but this will make it a little more obvious. Let's just say that I offered to sell you that. Let's say the house we looked at earlier. Remember the one that we analyzed together? Let's say that deal, the owners came to you and said, Jonathan, Eric, Carl, Michael, Rosemary, I just want to be out. You can have this deal for 10 grand. How many of you guys think that would be a good deal? It'd be a fantastic deal, right? And let's say that deal only needed like $1,000 worth of work. And it was worth $140,000 when it was done. And they offered to sell it to you for 10 grand. Woo, right? That's a great deal. You're going to make like $100,000 on this flip. How would you finance it? If you had to do it, gun to your head, no choice, you have to finance it, how would you do it? Maybe you would go out and borrow money from a friend. Maybe you'd sell your car. Maybe you'd go to a credit card, right? Maybe you'd go to a bank and get a personal loan. Maybe you'd find a partner to say, hey, I'll give you half the deal if you lend me 10 grand, right? Maybe you go to a family member. Maybe you'd go to a lender like a bank and tell them about the deal and give them interest. Maybe you would find another real estate investor to go halvesy on. Or you just borrow money from them at a 20% interest rate, right? There's a lot of things you might do. And those are all the same strategies that work no matter what, right? So even if the deal is not that good, the point is the better deal you have, the better you can finance it. Now, the easiest way to finance a flip is through a hard money lender. You guys heard that term before, hard money lender? A hard money lender is somebody whose business is to lend money on real estate deals. And so they look at your numbers and then they determine whether or not they want to lend you the deal. Now, here's the cool part about the calculators we talked about earlier. We designed the calculators so that you can print off that PDF report and show a hard money lender. Like hard money lenders love these things. I hear that from them all the time. I don't say all the time, but when I talk to hard money lenders, I hear that from them that they love the calculators. They love that they're used. In fact, you can even send the calculator report to a hard money lender right on BiggerPockets. Just send them the PDF if you meet one. Right? There's a lot of hard money lenders out there. If you go to biggerpockets.com/hardmoneylenders, those are guys that can fund your deal. Are they expensive? Hell yes. They are very expensive. Typically, you'll pay between 2 and 5% of the deal just in a fee, like just in fees, right? And then, so if you borrowed 100 grand, you'd pay between $2,000 and $5,000 in fees. And then you're going to pay between 12 and 17% interest, which is going to be like, let's say you pay 12% interest on a $100,000 loan. That's another $1,000 a month, right? For 6 months, that's 6 grand. In other words, to borrow money from a hard money lender, that's $6,000 plus the other, $6,000 in fees. Man, you're at $12,000, right? Who cares? Just use that in your numbers. Analyze deals as if that you're going to use that expensive financing and then make offers based on that financing. And when you get a deal accepted, great. Just go find a lender, present the deal to them professionally, like with the report, and then you're going to be fine. Now, hard money lenders are not the only way to go, but they are a good option that I've used. What I like better is private money. Private money are family and friends, people you've met, networking with, people that you know in your life who've got money. Usually that money's sitting in a bank account or an IRA or something, or a 401k, and they oftentimes will lend you money with 0 fees and maybe like 8% interest. That's my favorite way to flip houses, with private money. There's also, if you have equity in your current house, you can get a home equity line of credit to do a flip. You could also get a bank loan on a property as like a construction loan. Those are a little bit more difficult to get, but you can do them. You can get a personal loan. My in-laws did that when they were fixing up their property. They went and just got a personal loan from the bank. So there's a lot of ways to do it. Funding should be the least of your concerns. Analyzing deals and determining a good number should be the most important thing. If you have a good deal, you can find the funding. I mean, worst case, find a partner who you can partner with and give them 50% of the deal for bringing in all the money, right? Now, if you're saying, well, I don't know anybody, that means you're not networking enough. You should be going to real estate meetups at least twice a month if you don't know enough. Until you have at least 2 or 3 private lenders or partners that you could call on, you should be attending at least 2 networking events every month. If there are no networking events in your area, you win, because you can start one and then you're the hub. You're the leader. Everybody knows you. You're the one that organizes it. And if you're a pro member, you can actually organize events on BiggerPockets. Just go to biggerpockets.com/events and then just go like host it at your local library or the local Starbucks or whatever and get a dozen people together to talk about real estate. You'll find people who have a lot of money but no time, and you'll find people who have a lot of time and no money, and you just work together to do some deals. Who cares if you're giving 50% of a deal to somebody else, right? When you're getting started. The point is to get started. Who cares about how much money you make in the beginning? Don't lose money, but the goal is to get started. All right, so that's my rant on lending. Like, you guys can do it. Everybody here can do it. All right, let's see what else we got here. By the way, a bunch of people went pro, and I totally missed a lot of you guys. So if you went pro and I didn't call out your name, like Carol went pro, Pompey went pro. All right, yeah, Greg said it's expensive. Hard money is expensive, but it's part of your numbers. Let's see. Royal said, what was that web address? Go to biggerpockets.com/hardmoneylenders. One word, hard money lenders, no spaces. Shoni said, so basically if you use a hard money lender, sell it quickly so you can pay them back as soon as possible. Yeah, exactly. Like, the goal with a hard money lender is to be in and out in 60 days. The longer you use them, the more expensive it is. Remember those numbers we looked at earlier? That's why there was that $10,000 difference based on if I sold it in 90 days versus 270 days. Yeah, go quick. Let's see. Greg has a great tip, you guys. Listen to this. It's very important. Greg said this. Talk to people about what you want to do, and you will grow a network with private money. It's exactly it, right? There's so many people right now, guys, that are loaded with money, and they're afraid of the stock market. I'm afraid of the stock market, right? I would not put my money in the stock market right now because it's so bloody high. And there are thousands, if not millions of people out there who are the same way. So if you can offer them a better deal, to lend on a real estate deal that they have collateral in, that is secured by a piece of property that they can own if you don't pay them, right? Like, people love to do private lending when it's a good deal. That's the key. It has to be a good deal. The private money lender has to win no matter what. If you don't pay them, they win because they get the property and it's a good deal. They make the money on the flip. If you do pay them, then they win because they get the interest. They need to win no matter what. So talk to everybody you know. Yeah, lawyers, doctors, dentists, CPAs. Network with people like crazy. Meet people all the time. Get some business cards and get out there and start meeting people. All right, let's see. Anthony said, can a newbie get a line of credit from a hard money lender before a purchase? No, probably not. A hard money lender typically doesn't give you a line of credit. A hard money lender is going to actually lend a loan on a property when you're going to buy it. And so you put an offer on a property. When you get it accepted, you go to the hard money lender and say, hey, Bob, I got this property accepted under contract. I need $65,000. He looks at the deal and he says yes or no. Now, typically, a hard money lender does want you to put some money into the deal. It's usually not no money down. However, couldn't you bring in a partner to bring in the down payment? Couldn't you maybe get what do they call it, a personal loan from a bank? Could you pull from your savings, from an IRA, right? There's a lot of options you guys have. And so that's kind of how it works. All right, let's see. What else we got here? Tom from Los Angeles. What's up, Tom? What's up, buddy? If you're in the San Fernando Valley, you could go to my Cash Flow 101 game to network. If you guys are in the San Fernando Valley, hit up Tom from LA. I don't know. Tom, put your email address in here. And connect with people. Like, this is so cool. Go to biggerpockets.com/events. Look for events in your area. Let's see. David said, if you had cash, would you use that instead of hard money? Depends. Probably I would if I had the cash, unless there were multiple deals. But I would still probably use my cash first. Not all of it. You need to have some in reserves. But I would probably use my cash first. And then if another deal came up, I would then use a hard money for the second deal. That's probably what I would do. All right, Carl, Greg went pro. Both of you guys, awesome. Let's see. Jose said, if the deal is good, what stops the hard money lender from stealing the deal? Good question. First of all, I don't go to a hard money lender until I have a deal under contract, which means nobody can steal the deal from you if it's under contract. Secondly, hard money lenders are not usually real estate investors. They're usually former real estate investors. I mean, think about it. The hard money lender is going to make $10,000 to $20,000 off of your loan. What do they care about the hard work of doing a flip? They're not in the business of flipping because they make a lot of money lending. You got like that's like the top tier for investing. There's like flipping, rentals, wholesaling, and at the very top is lending because it's the easiest work you can do. In fact, I'm a private money lender. I've lent money to people. One of my friends recently, I gave him a loan for a flip he's doing. I make money every month in the mail for doing no work. It's the best money that I make because I lent money as a private or hard money lender to him. All right, Victor said pro. That's awesome. Rohit, I'm a pro now. Whoop, whoop. Let's see. Jeff asked, does pro membership include foreclosure.com? No. So foreclosure.com is totally separate from BiggerPockets. It's just we have a partnership with them, I guess. We send people to them. But I don't use foreclosure.com personally. I think, I guess I'm not gonna say why I don't or why I do. I don't use it. I don't know. I don't ever need to. I get deals just from the market. So Jesse said, what is your target ROI on a flip? Is it a percentage or a dollar amount? I usually want to make 20,000 on my own or 15,000 with a partner. So 30,000 total, right? If it's a flip I do on my own, I want 20 grand at the end of the day. ROI, I don't really look at it that closely, but I guess I'd say at least 20% on a flip, but I'd prefer more than that. All right. Jose said, can I use multiple private lenders to fund one deal? Get 40% from one, 60% from the other. So Jose, you can do that. It's difficult though because of the way that loans work is when you put a loan on a property, you give collateral to the lender, which means if you don't pay, they get to take the house. So if you have two lenders, you can't split the collateral. You can only do first position, second position. In other words, if you don't pay the lender, like no lender wants to be in the second position, which means that they're behind another guy. It's possible, but it's unlikely. I would try to find another source, not two loans. All right, Jeff said, as a beginner, do I recommend flipping houses first or creating passive income with rental properties? They're totally different things. It doesn't matter. Flipping houses is not really investing. It's a business. If you're looking to create a business that makes really good money, flipping houses is a great business that makes good money. Just like selling vacuum cleaners, being a teacher, or opening a shoe store, right? It's a good business to make money. If you're looking to create passive income over time, rental properties are a great way to do that. They're not mutually exclusive. You don't need to choose one or the other. You can do both. You can choose one or the other. It really just depends on your goals, right? So I don't think of flipping much as an investment. I just think of it as a business. Is flipping a business I want to build or not? And personally, it's not. I don't like flipping houses that much because I don't like being in the business of flipping houses. I like being in the business of rental properties, and I like buying investment properties. But I do flip because it generates cash, and I like cash, so I can buy more properties. All right, but good question. Let's see. Shoni said, I love playing cash flow. I do too. That's great. All right, what else we got here? Wow, there's a lot of stuff here. Do we have a Canadian Pro version? We do not. However, it works the exact same way for Pro for Canadians. It doesn't really make a difference, so it's the same basic thing. Other questions here. Jeff said, but does it cover the hard money lender and investor marketplace? Pro does cover the hard money lender marketplace. The hard money lender directory is for everybody. The marketplace is for just Pro members, yes. And Plus members, I think, have limited access to it. All right. You guys listen to this. Eric said, because of going pro, I'm working on getting another duplex, which will give me 5 units in just this year, all while surviving my 5th round of cancer. Eric, I keep talking to you on these webinars, and you sent me an email, and I have not responded, but it's in my email inbox. I saw it today. I'm just really behind. So, Eric, I'm going to hit you up, and we're going to talk soon because I want to get more of your story. I want to write about you. I think that's awesome. So, you guys, I love that. Let's see. Mark said, does the calculators also work for a scrape and build? Yes, but there isn't a specific one for that, but you can do the flipping calculator the same way for a new build. You could really do the exact same calculations. It's not for that, but you can kind of make it work that way. Carlos said, as a beginner, do you recommend Pro or Plus? Here's the difference. If you only want to use the marketplace a couple times a month, and that's it, you don't care about the analysis tools or the PDF reports, Plus is fine. But if you want to use the calculators unlimited, and you want all the other benefits and you want to watch the webinar replays, definitely go Pro. They're not that different in price because of the discount. I never recommend Plus for really anybody. Let's see. What other questions we got here? Eric said, how do you present a hard money lender on a purchase agreement? I mean, so what I do is when I offer on a deal, Here's what I do. So when I offer on a piece of real estate, I get the contract when it gets accepted, and I take the contract that I emailed it to me, and then I put together a presentation packet. Now, what that includes is I use the calculator report. I print out that PDF report. I include the purchase and sale agreement. I include some different comps, like properties that have sold, so that I can get the ARV correct. I include a bunch of photos, and then I put it into a nice binder with a pretty picture on the front and side, like one of those plastic binders, and I give that to my lender. It blows them away every time. If you want to know more about that, you guys check out biggerpockets.com/5CS. Biggerpockets.com. In fact, I'll put a link here in the chat room. https://www.biggerpockets.com/5CS. All right, link is there, and yeah, check that out. It's just a guide that I wrote on like the 5 things you need to do to present your loan to a lender, to a hard money lender or private money lender. All righty. Let's see, what else do I see here? Russ asked, should I start an LLC or do this as an individual? You know, that's a hard question. It's one of those like CPA ones. I would say this. You're not required to have an LLC. I don't think it's that important if you're not super rich. That's just my personal opinion. If you're super rich, then you probably should pay an attorney. And if you're not super rich, I wouldn't worry about it personally. But again, that's just my opinion. LLCs are good to protect assets. If you don't have assets to protect, then you don't really need an LLC necessarily. There are some tax benefits to doing flipping in certain ways, but I mean, pay $200 and get an hour meeting with a CPA and talk to them about it, or a lawyer. They can help you a lot more, but it's not required. So let's see. Ryan said, what happens if you get a property under contract but you can't secure the funding? Kind of depends. So when you make an offer on a property, there's a thing called contingencies. What a contingency is it basically is saying, hey, I can back out if this or this comes true or doesn't come true. So, for example, I'm going to buy your house for $100,000 and I'll put down $1,000 earnest money, which means I'm pledging this $1,000 that I actually will buy your house unless I can't get financing. That's called a financing contingency. And so if I put a financing contingency in an offer and they accept it, well, then I just back out and say, hey, I couldn't get financing. But if you don't put a financing contingency in and then you can't get financing, well, you could lose your earnest money, which is typically like 1% of whatever the purchase price is. So I might put down $1,000 on a purchase on earnest money, and if I don't come through and buy the property, I might lose my $1,000. Which is why it's important to do both. You analyze deals and you network with lenders at the same time, so that way that doesn't happen to you. You need to find good deals, you put them under contract, and go ahead and put the financing contingency in when you're getting started. I usually don't do a financing contingency anymore because I know I can get the financing. I know worst case, I can just go pay cash for it. I don't like to, but I could. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here in just a minute, but I'm gonna give a couple more, do a couple more questions, and then I'm out of here. Letty asked, can I get Pro from the UK? You definitely can. It just doesn't work in pounds, so you definitely can. Let's see. Diego asked if I've done REO or short sales. Most of my properties have been REOs. I love REOs. I love looking for foreclosed properties that the banks are reselling. They can be great deals. I've done a lot of offers on short sales, but I've only ever bought, I think, one short sale ever. So, yeah, I think they're going to be great. Let's see. Andrew asked if there are contract templates on BP. Sort of. If you go to biggerpockets.com/files, there's a whole bunch of files in there that people have posted in there. I would always make sure an attorney looks over your files because you never know, if somebody else's form is going to work for you. So I hope that helps. Let's see. Nate said best place to find quotes for contractor fees. I just Google it. Like, how much is the average price for painting a house? And then you'll find stuff. Or just go call up some contractors and ask them. Shasha said, is there a link on BP to learn more about wholesaling? Yeah, for a couple of things. One, if you're a pro member, you can watch the webinar replay that I did on wholesaling. Or there's a podcast coming out in 2 weeks with a guy named Brett Snodgrass, which is fantastic, all about wholesaling. There's a number of podcasts on wholesaling. Let me see one thing real quick. Let me open up a URL and see if it's still like this. Hold on. whole. Anyway, go to BiggerPockets.com. Go to the navigation bar on top and type in wholesaling. You'll find forum posts, blog posts, podcasts, people, a ton of stuff on wholesaling. You'll find it there. All right, let's see. Tyler said, do you recommend a contractor walk through for estimates from beginners? I actually do. If you can get a contractor to walk through with you and give you a bid beforehand, it's hard to get contractors to walk through with you. But if you can do it, it will save you a lot of hassle because you might find that the contractor numbers are way different than your numbers. So yeah, make friends with a contractor. Go and make friends with one. Go and buy them a bunch of steaks, right? And be friends with the contractor. Pay them for their time if that's what they want. But that can help a lot. All right. Let's see. Oh, my phone's ringing. Oh, Derek Overton's calling me. Sorry, Derek, can't answer. Let's see. Sonia said, do pros have access to probate lists? No, we don't have anything like that on BiggerPockets. I mean, you can buy lists of probate lists from a site like ListSource, but we're not a list company. We're not a public list company. There's a couple of them out there like listsource.com or melissadata.com. But we don't actually provide lists. It's a whole different business model. Let's see. Jerome said, can I keep the code till Friday? Yes, Friday at midnight, the code expires. And what else we got here? All right, guys, I'm going to do one more question. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you for coming today. You guys are awesome. I appreciate each and every one of you. If I did not get to your question, please go post it in the forums, biggerpockets.com/forums. It's a great place to go and look for, I guess, answers. There's every question in the world has been asked there. And if you don't see your question asked already, go and ask it. It's free to ask a question in the forum. So definitely check that out. If you guys enjoyed today's webinar, thank you for coming. Sign up for next week's webinar. Go to biggerpockets.com/webinar. I'm doing this again next Wednesday. And I don't know. That's all I got for you. So let's do one last question. Last question of the day. Jay asked, should the ARV match the subject to repair appraisal? Well, the ARV ideally should, I'm not sure what you mean by subject to repair appraisal. I mean, the ARV, your estimate should be the best you can possibly do. I don't know if that answers your question. That's probably a bad last question for me to answer because I don't really understand exactly what you're saying. So I'll do this question. You can ask follow-up if you want to, but I'll answer Jonathan as well. Should I get a real estate license for flipping houses? You don't need one. It's not a bad idea. Having your license gives you faster access to deals, but you got to deal with all the paperwork involved with being an agent. So give or take, I do not have my license, but I know a lot of agents and flippers that do have their real estate license. So you can go either way, but anyway, hope that helps. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys around. Take care, and I guess if you have questions, go to biggerpockets.com/forums. See you guys around. Thanks for being a part of BiggerPockets. Remember, coupon code 531.